Get ready for a story that will keep you glued to the screen, full of suspense and breathtaking twists. But before we begin, let me give you a little glimpse of what's to come. Amidst all the happiness and promises of eternal love, sinister shadows lurk, and the most unexpected person will reveal themselves as the epicenter of a diabolical plot capable of destroying a hard-won dream. Now, if you enjoy following exciting and surprising stories, the kind that make you root and question every character, go ahead and leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any detail of this electrifying saga. And now, let's dive headfirst into this story that begins with the celebration of a love that overcame all barriers. The scent of freshly picked lavender filled the air of the cozy house, a home radiating the newly found happiness of Melissa and Augusto. The walls, painted in soft shades of white and sand, witnessed the love blossoming between them, a love that had withstood family storms, deep-rooted prejudices, and countless trials. Every object, every photograph scattered in the corners told a piece of the arduous yet victorious journey that had united them forever. Melissa, with her brown eyes that shone with tenderness and a smile capable of brightening any room, and Augusto, with his protective stance and a look overflowing with passion for his wife, were the personification of a modern fairy tale. They had defied fate, faced the fury of conservative parents who disapproved of the union between different social classes, and overcome the distance imposed by years of study and work in different cities. The wedding, celebrated in an intimate and emotional ceremony, was the crowning of a dream cherished by both since their first furtive encounters and vows of love whispered under the starry sky. Life as a couple unfolded in a harmonious routine, woven with small gestures of affection, passionate conversations at the end of the day, and plans for a future full of joy and achievements. However, the routine, as sweet as it was, also brought the need for help with household chores. That's how Agatha appeared in their lives, like a gentle and seemingly harmless breeze. Agatha introduced herself with captivating humility and a shy look that seemed to beg for a chance. Dressed simply and with a low, hesitant voice, she told them about her difficulties and the urgent need for a job. Melissa, with her generous heart and the empathy that always characterized her, didn't hesitate to offer her the position of a domestic maid. Augusto, although a bit more reserved, also allowed himself to be swayed by the aura of fragility surrounding the young woman. From the very first day, Agatha proved to be an exemplary employee. She was extremely helpful, always anticipating the couple's needs, organizing the house with surprising efficiency, and preparing delicious meals with a homemade touch that pleased them both. She seemed genuinely grateful for the opportunity, always with a smile on her lips and words of thanks that sounded sincere. Melissa and Augusto saw Agatha as more than a maid. They saw a friend, someone who seemed to share the joy and peace that reigned in their home. Over time, Agatha began to insert herself even more into the couple's routine. She offered to do small favors, like grocery shopping, tending the garden, and even chatting with Melissa when Augusto was at work, always with a sweet and attentive tone of voice. Melissa felt comfortable confiding in her about her dreams and insecurities, finding in Agatha an understanding and apparently loyal listener. Augusto, in turn, appreciated the maid's discretion and efficiency, feeling he could fully trust her services. However, a subtle veil of strangeness began to hang over the house. Small incidents, initially insignificant, started to disturb the harmony of the home. Objects would disappear and reappear in different places. Unexplained noises echoed during the night, and a constant feeling that something was out of place began to bother Melissa. She tried to rationalize, attributing the events to fatigue or a vivid imagination, but a knot of apprehension formed in her chest. Augusto also noticed the changes, but attributed them to work stress and Melissa's sensitivity. The hectic routine at his company left him exhausted, and he couldn't give due attention to his wife's fears. Slowly, communication between them began to fail. Moments of intimacy became rare, and small arguments, previously unthinkable, started to occur frequently. The happiness that once emanated from the house seemed to be fading, replaced by an atmosphere charged with tension and mistrust. The incidents became more serious and disturbing. Anonymous messages with defamatory content about Melissa began to arrive on Augusto's phone, sowing doubt and jealousy in his heart. Small domestic accidents, like burnt pans and damaged clothes, became recurrent, generating irritation and mutual accusations. The trust that was once the foundation of the relationship began to crumble, eroded by unsaid secrets and silent suspicions. The near breaking point occurred during an important dinner with Augusto's parents, who, despite having reluctantly accepted the marriage, still maintained a cold and distant attitude towards Melissa. A heated argument between the couple, provoked by a malicious comment from Augusto's mother and subtly fueled by Agatha, culminated in harsh words and deep hurt. Melissa, feeling misunderstood and attacked, left the table in tears, and Augusto, overwhelmed by frustration and exhaustion, did not follow her. That fateful night, separated for the first time since their wedding, Melissa and Augusto questioned the future of their union. Could that love that had overcome so many obstacles be succumbing to invisible forces that seemed to conspire against them? The shadow of separation loomed over the home, cold and threatening. While Melissa and Augusto's relationship crumbled, Agatha watched everything closely, with a hidden smile on her lips and a cold glint in her eyes. The fragility and shyness that characterized her at the beginning had disappeared, revealing an astute and calculating mind. She moved through the house like a stealthy predator, weaving her web of intrigue with patience and precision. Every suspicious look between the couple, every harsh word exchanged, was a silent triumph for her. The truth, dark and shocking, was that Agatha was not who she appeared to be. Behind the facade of a dedicated and naive maid hid a manipulative and ambitious psychopath, driven by envy and a voracious desire for social climbing. Her arrival at Melissa and Augusto's house had not been a matter of chance. She had planned everything meticulously, knowing about the family conflicts and the wealth of Augusto's parents. Agatha was, in fact, an accomplice of Ricardo, Augusto's older brother, a bitter and envious man who had never overcome his parents' favoritism towards his younger brother. Ricardo had always felt slighted and wronged, and the happiness of Augusto and Melissa was a constant reminder of his own frustration and failure. He coveted the family inheritance and saw his brother's marriage as an obstacle to his plans. Together, Agatha and Ricardo devised a perverse plan to destroy Melissa and Augusto's relationship, isolate them from the family, and eventually take possession of the fortune. Agatha, with her manipulative skills and flawless acting, infiltrated the couple's life, sowing discord and planting seeds of mistrust. Ricardo, in turn, fueled Agatha's insecurities with empty promises of wealth and recognition, using her as a key piece in his dirty game. The anonymous messages, domestic accidents, and misunderstandings were all part of the plan orchestrated by the duo. Agatha took advantage of Melissa's vulnerability and Augusto's blindness, distorting conversations, creating compromising situations, and feeding each other's resentments. She pretended to be Melissa's friend, to gather information, and at the same time insinuated to Augusto that his wife was not trustworthy. The climax of the plot was approaching, and Agatha and Ricardo's plan seemed about to succeed. Melissa, increasingly isolated and hopeless, seriously considered separation. Augusto, consumed by mistrust and bitterness, no longer recognized the woman he had fallen in love with. The happiness that once reigned in that home was about to be completely annihilated. However, fate often holds unexpected twists. Amidst the chaos and disillusionment, a spark of hope began to shine. Melissa, in a moment of deep anguish, found an old diary of her grandmother, a wise and insightful woman who had faced her own romantic trials. On the yellowed pages, Melissa found words of comfort and valuable advice on the importance of communication, trust, and perseverance in a relationship. Inspired by her grandmother's words, Melissa decided to fight for her marriage. She approached Augusto and, with an open and sincere heart, expressed her doubts and fears, but also reaffirmed her unconditional love for him. Augusto, seeing the sincerity in Melissa's eyes and hearing her emotional words, began to question his own certainties and to recognize the nefarious influence hovering over them. Together, Melissa and Augusto decided to investigate the strange events that had shaken their home. They began to pay more attention to details, to analyze the small incidents, and to question Agata's actions. Slowly, the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, revealing a sinister pattern of manipulation and deceit. The crucial discovery came when Melissa found, hidden in Agata's room, a compromising letter from Ricardo, in which he detailed the plan to destroy the marriage and promised a financial reward to his accomplice. The letter contained dates, names, and shocking details that left no room for doubt. Agata's mask of fragility and innocence finally fell, revealing the calculating and ambitious psychopath she truly was. With irrefutable proof in hand, Melissa and Augusto confronted Agata, who, cornered and with no way out, had no choice but to confess the whole truth. She revealed her alliance with Ricardo, the macabre plan they had hatched, and the base motives that drove them. Pain and indignation overwhelmed Melissa and Augusto as they discovered the extent of the betrayal and the evil of those who claimed to be close. The confrontation did not end well for Agata. Feeling exposed and with her plans ruined, her sanity wavered, revealing even more disturbing traits of her psychopathic personality. She tried to manipulate the couple once more, using tears and false promises, but Melissa and Augusto, now united by the truth, were not fooled. Justice, though delayed, prevailed. Melissa and Augusto reported Agata and Ricardo to the authorities, presenting the evidence they had gathered. The police investigation confirmed the couple's allegations, exposing the sordid plot and the greedy motives of the conspirators. Agata was arrested and brought to trial, where her actions were duly punished. Ricardo, in addition to facing criminal charges for his actions, also faced the wrath of his parents, who, shocked by the betrayal and malice of their eldest son, disinherited and disowned him. The mask of the good son and devoted brother fell, revealing the envy and bitterness that consumed him. However, Agata's story did not end without one last surprising twist. During the investigation, it was discovered that the psychopath had scammed Ricardo, diverting part of the money he had promised her. In the end, Agata was loyal to no one but her own selfish and sick interests. She deceived and manipulated everyone around her, leaving a trail of destruction wherever she went. For Melissa and Augusto, the path to rebuilding was not easy, but the truth united them in an even deeper way. Overcoming the crisis strengthened the love they felt for each other, teaching them the importance of trust, communication, and resilience in the face of adversity. They learned to recognize the warning signs, to value sincerity, and to protect their home from any negative influence. Over time, peace and harmony returned to the house, no longer with the naivety of before, but with the wisdom of those who had faced darkness and chosen the light of love and truth. Melissa and Augusto rebuilt their routine, strengthening the bonds that had been almost broken. They learned to forgive, not for Agata or Ricardo, but for themselves, so they could move forward without the weight of resentment and hurt. The story of Melissa and Augusto is a powerful reminder that true love can overcome any obstacle, even those that seem insurmountable. It is a lesson about the importance of discerning the true intentions of the people around us and protecting the bonds that are most precious to us. And above all, it is a celebration of the strength of the human spirit to rise again after pain and to build a future of happiness and peace, even after the darkest of storms. And you? What did you think of this exciting story full of twists? Leave your comment below and share your opinion. And if you like this electrifying narrative, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more surprising stories like this one.